What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Packet live stream. We are back. We're a little light on participants today. You got the Burger Bros coming in hard on this bloody red Wednesday in the market. Fucking people that bought at the top are now standing at the top of buildings, contemplating whether they should jump or not. Yeah, happy to be here. How you doing, Jess?
Well, my personal favorite investment strategy is to buy high, sell low. So today's a real good day for that. You wanted to load up on Bitcoin at 125K, and today's as good a day as ever to unload that position at $88,000 and just lock in a 30+% L for the normies out there. So today is a day to press the sell button.
Well, according to Eric Trump, he said you should buy.
Today?
No, not today. This is back when it was like 115.
Got it. Well, when Trump says buy, that means we're going low. That means we're going to do a big, cup.
Is he the new Jim Cramer?
Hey, Jimmy boy, how's it going, my guy?
Jim Cramer did say that this was the end for Bitcoin, which means it could have a big rally. I don't know. I'm getting a lot of different perspectives from a lot of different people, so it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, well,
it's a dark day in the markets, but everybody knew this was coming. It's been the longest bull run in history, if you even want to call it a bull run. I think it was only a bull run for Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, this is just the cycles continue. There's a lot of debate on whether this would be different than, the previous 3 cycles or whatever. But yeah, I just didn't see it. There wasn't enough. You just didn't have enough people, enough retail coming in, and just like the second everyone got excited, they got rugged by the market makers and exchanges. So it was just an impossible feat.
Yeah, that's really what happened. And for the folks in the back who maybe weren't paying attention, essentially right around October 2024, we hit this like low, and then everything started to kind of like turn around, and a lot of charts crossed over their EMAs and kind of went into positive territory in anticipation of the Trump election. And then Trump election was just an absolute nuclear pump to the upside, but with like unreal volatility, because what happened was everyone loaded up their leverage positions in anticipation of Trump's inauguration speech, and we're hoping that he was going to mention crypto. And I remember just sitting there waiting. Everyone was waiting for the pump, and he didn't mention crypto. And so the market like kind of dumped actually on that day. But that ended up being like one of those little fake out dumps. And then things in a lot of ways went pretty nuclear. If you had put a trade in like on election day in the United States, you could have, even with no leverage, you would have been up, multiple X's over that period, but with a lot of volatility. And they were continuously, and this is where a lot of the greed from the market makers and particularly these exchanges were really focused on liquidating all that retail that was coming in. And it was so stupid, because if they had just baited that retail interest for like 2 months instead of like yo-yoing everyone's leverage positions, yeah, they would have gave out a lot of money and a lot of people would have taken profit and gotten rich, but that would have been the next leg of retail that would have taken Bitcoin from 120 to 180. And so by taking all that money out on the exchange side, I think my theory is that clipped any type of bull run potential, like the actual, like what they call that, like euphoria pump, that like final pump of a bull run, because the exchanges just took, I mean, they took billions. I mean, we're talking, it's got to be $10 billion worth of liquidations that have happened over the last year. At least it's got maybe even 20. It's got to be. I mean, we're talking about like 500 to 1.5 billion dollars in liquidations a day for the
Yeah.
last year. I mean, it's just got to be. It's got to be some crazy fucking number. Obviously, they don't liquidate a half a billion per day, but I mean, you're talking probably on the low end 20 to 50 mil, and on the high end like 2 billion a day.
Yeah.
But every single day they're clipping fools. And in that first period from like November through January, I actually remember the January 1st pump because I had some positions that were in heavy red. And I remember on January 1st, on actually December 31st, when the clock struck midnight, sitting there looking at some of my trades and seeing them flip positive on the first. And but then all those positions within a matter of a week or so got wiped out. And I mean, not my positions, but like any gains that you would have made got wiped out and probably yo-yoed people's liquidation. So it was like just so much volatility that all I would say by February, everyone had lost all their money. Everyone was out of the market within like between Trump pump to February. Anybody who had long positions had lost it all.
Yeah.
And what I don't remember the day of that nuclear day. I mean, obviously there was
There's a
the,
few.
the there was the November 6th with the Melania and Trump coin, you know,
Yeah.
damage that happened where everyone was sitting in the market and he drained out, I think 73% of all the liquidity in the market got drained out the day of his inauguration. So like anybody who was sitting there thinking they were going to get rich on inauguration day lost everything.
Yeah.
So Trump came into the presidency, wiped out the entire crypto market. And then over that period, and then but if you had placed a trade on that day, if you had entered the market on that day instead of the day before, you would have made huge gains because the market got wiped out the day before. And then everything came back. And then if you had just sold at some point instead of believing that it was going to go any higher, you could have made a lot of money. But most people sat in those trades. And if you sat in the trades, you either round tripped or you got liquidated if you were
Yeah. The
unlucky.
whole thing was just like insider trading 101. I mean, even just uh, when Trump announced that China was, that they were going to like put 100% tariffs on China, and the market just absolutely free fell. It was the biggest dump in history, even bigger than FTX. And there just so happened to be a person who shorted that 30 minutes before that tweet went out, and that was tracked back to Byron Trump. So it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the whole thing is just kind of a joke, and that's why we've always just been focusing on utility. It's like, are you gonna play the game and try and pump your shit to the fucking moon? And you're watching these exchanges give these little pumps trying to lure people in, but they already rugged everybody. So
Yeah.
it's just like, you already lost the people lost their faith. And I was actually in this other chat, and Michael Turpin was commenting that somebody else commented like, hey, there's no liquidity this bull market. And Michael Turpin said, yeah, everybody went to stocks and gold, but they went to stocks and gold because crypto was proven to not be a safe place to put
Yeah.
your money. It was always supposed to be that crypto was like a hedge against the US dollar. But when these exchanges have so much power and so much treasury of these tokens, and can just dump the shit out of a market whenever and they're dumping it on just like the most random shit. It's like, hey, Trump farted. Oh God, let's fucking dump the market. It's the biggest thing ever. It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? So it's gotten a little ridiculous, and there needs to be a reset, which is what these bear markets are. They're not a bad thing. They're literally just a reset, and you
Yeah.
get a little bit of time to go build and reset and get this sideways trading. I mean, after there's obviously a big dump and people get wrecked, but yeah, it's a reset of the market so that we can find a new bottom and we can start again. And it's kind of what this market needs, to be honest.
Yeah, what's also interesting is I remember one of our good friends, Cheyenne, we were chatting with him way back in those early days of the year, and it was very clear that come November, there would be a sell-off. We talked about it back in the beginning part of the year. So I'm not surprised that we're looking at what we're looking at. We basically predicted it.
I'm
I mean, I
surprised
wouldn't
it
say
went this
basically.
long.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised it went this long as well. I think there was still some belief that certain things would happen. What's funny is a lot of the callers that we follow, they had these dates. They were like, oh, on the 22nd of November, you got to stay in. These are things that are going to happen, and XRP is going to pump to the moon and all this bullshit. And it was just an opportunity to get people to not sell for the last 2 months so that all those guys could just take liquidity.
Yeah.
And everyone who's a caller has been unloading their positions on anyone who's a holder. Look, I'm also not a seller, even at these highs. Like, I have a much longer term viewpoint. And sure, you can be a day trader, but that's a certain type of person that wants to exit their positions. Some people, just leave their positions in. I mean, if you have altcoins, there's no point in round tripping. You should have sold. But for Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. I just am always a buyer. You should just constantly be buying. And if you do have the discipline to just hold those positions for the next 5-10 years, whatever, you should do extremely well. And it's historically shown that is to be the case. So, it sucks to look at your position go up and down by 30%, but that's crypto. You got to get used to those types of swings. And because crypto does go down by 30, even sometimes 50%, is the reason why it goes up by 200, 300, 400, 500 plus percent on the flip side. So you just have to be able to weather the down to be able to enjoy the up. And that's just part of being in this industry in general. But it also is a testament to how destabilized this industry is right now. It is gone back to be the wild, wild west, which is also good. I mean, getting rid of a lot of this crypto regulation that was happening, this like lawfare that was happening at the SEC in America, which basically, I don't even know if we have an SEC anymore. I'm pretty sure this administration has dismantled literally every government agency that's ever existed. And I don't know if these agencies are even doing anything anymore, but they're certainly not attacking crypto, which is generally good. And we've seen some good advances with legislation in, the Congress that is generally positive for creating a more regulated environment for crypto and to create an opportunity for banks to custody crypto. These are all good things, generally good things. And I think it will advance the industry, in this next period. But if you're a trader, yeah, I mean, although also it was tough. It's been tough. But I was going to say the other thing is that if you're a trader, you welcome volatility. You got to be able to make money when the price goes up and make money when the price goes down. So volatility is actually generally good. And right now in this sell-off, I was just watching Carl the Moon, and he was basically like, every time you see a green day, just short it. He's like, that's the cool thing about when you have a downtrend. It's like, because nothing just goes down in a straight line. What it will do is it'll go down, hit a liquidity pop, it pop up. And so you'll see like Bitcoin go from like yesterday, 90 to 93. Well, at 93, open a short. Now you're go to sleep, wake up. Now you're at 88, And if you're on 10x leverage, you just made a lot of money overnight, So, right now it's predictable to the downside. That's good. That's as good as predictable to the upside. So there's money to be made. Don't be afraid to trade and stack some capital in the downtrend. Unfortunately,
Indeed.
you can't short packet though, so you can only buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, Packet didn't get to its day in the sun during this bull run,
No,
but
it certainly did not.
but we're continuing the process, and yeah, we stay optimistic based on this acquisition that should close any day.
Yeah.
I feel like we're back. I feel like we're back in the days where like we were doing announcements. We'd be like, "Oh, it's coming soon," and everyone like would talk shit like, "When the fuck is soon?" But
Trend.
but yeah, it's honestly not even our fault, Like, so this is the struggle of doing a big acquisition. There's so much due diligence that goes into these things. You mean you're spending a lot of money on an asset. You need to make sure you're buying all the things that you're paying a lot of money to buy.
Yeah.
And everything is looking positive. It's on the right path, but
Yeah,
but
there's
yeah,
literally just one piece that we're waiting. I mean,
I
literally
know.
everything's done. It's just this one piece. It's so weird, but yeah, this one piece where we're waiting for access to the server that had all the software for this company on it. And that server is controlled by Amazon, and it was in a different person's name or the different company's name. And the company that's facilitating the sale just has not been able to get access to it. And obviously we can't complete the purchase until we review the server because it's got all the software on it. So we've completed everything else and we're just waiting on that access point. And then once that happens, it will start a clock of about 2 weeks ish to close. That closing date was the 20th, and then it extended to the 26th. Now it's the 4th. It's probably going to end up being the 10th. And it might even move to the, whatever, the 17th or 18th or whatever. But yeah, it'll close this year for sure. I just don't see any possible way that it extends beyond that. But yeah, it's kind of on a path to close. It's just weird that it extended longer. The weird thing is that we wanted a longer due diligence period initially, and they were the ones, the sellers were like super aggressive about wanting this super short timeline. And we were like, all right, fine. And, they made it really tight. They were like, 2-week due diligence period, 2 weeks to close. You can ask for a 2-week extension if you want. And then they didn't even make it through the 2-week due diligence period because that 2-week due diligence period's now been almost 2 months. And because they haven't been able to get access to the server. So it is what it is. It's actually been kind of welcomed because it's slowed the pace of kind of this aggressive, closing posture, which just felt very rushed anyways. And but yeah, it's also at this point almost gone too slow. You almost just want to get it done with because it feels like it's dragging out.
Yeah.
But at least we know we're getting it, and that's super positive. And some of the things we've begun to put in place around this is just freaking massive. One of the things that I think we could talk about that's super cool, and I'd love to hear some of the community's feedback on this, is around the prediction markets. And we've been talking about opportunities and also seeing a lot of opportunities around prediction markets. It's kind of one of the coolest things happening in crypto right now. I was actually baffled and didn't even realize that Poly market had anything to do with Polygon and crypto. Like it just didn't connect for me. I was just like, wait a minute, it's a crypto thing. And it's like the best thing of utility ever because it's the real crossover from crypto to like regular people that, whether, it's not even like focused solely on gambling and sports, but it's like, Caleb was the one who actually turned me on to it because he was betting on the presidency.
Right.
And he made a bunch of money. He made like 600, 800 bucks on that or something. I forget the number, but he like wagered on it. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean you're wagering on
they just cashed on whether they would release the Epstein files, which is pretty funny. It's funny because they cashed on it, but they're gonna go and pull it back and not release them. So I
Right.
think they cashed a little too early.
Yeah, well, see, well, yeah, yeah. It seems weird that they would have cashed when they haven't been released, or maybe it was just that they would pass the House or pass the Senate
I
or
think it
something.
was maybe it was that it was
It was just that it would pass the Senate, yeah, and everyone was like, "No, there's no way it will get through the Senate," and then it did. But now it has to get signed on the president's desk. This will be the real test. Is probably one of the first things since the big beautiful bill that's even made it to the president's desk.
What is the Kalshi if
yeah, that'd be interesting to see. But anyways, prediction markets. This is a huge utility for crypto in general. And the other thing that's happened that's just so notable, I mean, just absolutely astonishing, is it has been sanctioned, positively approved by the CFTC as a commodities trading platform, and able to be done in all 50 states. Josh, you're frozen. You have the funniest face frozen on the screen right now.
I'm frozen?
Yeah. And you're
Am I still frozen?
Yeah. No.
Is that unfreeze?
You come back and you're still frozen. You turn off your camera and then you come back and you're still frozen. Yeah, you might just
What? Fucking hey.
Dude,
well, I'm running off of my cell phone because my fucking place doesn't have internet right now.
But anyways, in this platform that we're planning to launch, yeah, you're still frozen. It's hilarious. We're planning to incorporate the prediction market technologies, and it won't necessarily be, just about it being crypto centric, but just about it being accessible and usable by, anyone and everyone who might be interested, specifically around sports. But we've been talking about a lot of different other opportunities and one of our advisors yesterday talking about other opportunities that we can use. You're unfrozen now, Josh. That we can use prediction markets in all kinds of different ways. It could be around esports. It could be around, other types of competitions between influencers or between, streaming platforms or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that we think that we can have that incorporated into the platform that we're launching for next year. And obviously can't say the name of it, but we're really excited to unveil this information in due course. So some positive stuff there.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff. I've been digging deeper into the predictive market stuff and just like learning and playing around. It's interesting. They have you go through a whole KYC and all this stuff. I've only done Kalshi. I need to go through Polymarket and check out the onboarding process.
Have you wagered on anything yet or
No,
tested it?
you have to like fund the account. I was just playing around with it and just searching.
How do you fund it? You fund it with like a credit card, or are you with crypto or what?
Yeah, I think you can use a credit card.
Huh.
With Kalshi, I don't know. I didn't go into Polymarket, but Polymarket probably allows crypto. I assume so if it's built on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like when Pancake Swap launched, that was such a heavy utility play that it boosted the entire market. That was like a catalyst for the bull run actually in 2021. And so you would think something like, Polymarket, with the amount of money flowing through that, that would have been a huge catalyst for the price of Polygon, but it hasn't been the case. Polygon's in a real downtrend. Looks like absolute shit. The chart looks horrible. So I guess not. I guess it's not having the impact that you would have hoped. But certainly from a technology standpoint, very compelling. And
yeah, I mean, they just did a deal with UFC. I mean, you can't get much bigger than that.
Yeah, UFC, NHL, like it's just it's starting to happen. It's certainly starting to happen around sports, and I think everyone's taking notice. And so we're going to take a huge shot at sports as well. Sports will be a big pillar piece, and I think sports. I think a lot of people that are, well, sports touches so many different demographics. You won't even say like, oh, well, crypto people love sports. I actually think crypto people do love sports, generally speaking. I think you'd be hard pressed to find like 10% of the crypto community that doesn't have a favorite sports team or isn't aware or interested in one league or another. So I think generally speaking, that's a pretty synergistic match between sports interests and crypto folks. And I think that a lot of crypto is viewed as gambling anyway. It touches on some of the same things. Certainly, anyone who's trading leverage, and so I think there's a lot of synergy between people that might be interested in predictive markets and people who are interested in crypto. So I think there is some good crossover there, and yeah, just giving Packet an anchor point in some of these categories that are interesting to a lot of different people, I think can be, a real positive edge for what we're trying to do here. So the
Yeah,
goal, of course,
it'd be interesting to see if we could do like an integration with like an atomic swap for Polygon and Packet. Um,
I think if I remember correctly, that was talked about. We were talking about creating like a bridge to Polygon. I don't know if that's really even like necessary. I think the thing that I'm interested in with like crypto swaps is the ability for someone to just pay in any token and for it to just like be able to process the payment and do all whatever swapping happens like on the back end and just have the payment go through. I think that's
I'm talking more about being able to use Packet on
oh, just like straight up
Polygon.
on Polygon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. It would also be cool if like there was some tool where you could view the prediction market right off of, our streaming site and pay and packet to like straight up, like right there. And it would do anything that needed to be done behind the scenes. So you didn't even have to like do it manually prior to like where you got to go in, do a swap and then come back and then go over there and then use it. It's just like so many steps, you just want to figure out a way for people to just do it quickly. And actually, when I was talking to that guy, Andy, I forget the name of his company, but he's talking about how they use a token for paying for, NASCAR and FIFA games and stuff like that. And it's not a crypto token. It's just meant to be this like, it's kind of like same concept of airline miles or airline points or credit card points. But I was asking, could you use a cryptocurrency and just do the whole transaction behind the scenes? Or could you use just like fiat and have it transact into your token, but the customer would never know that that even occurred? They could just pay with their Apple Pay and it just bang, just does the transaction. He said, absolutely, we can do that completely behind the scenes. So that's really compelling because I always have said that the value of crypto or specifically blockchain is real clear, but sometimes the clunkiness of using the technology is creating so much friction for the customer. And so they're just like, I don't want to have to like set up a wallet, remember a key, like, write my password down. Like, it's just like so many steps. And they're just like, I just want to pay for this and just double click my Apple Pay and just have it process the payment, So that's always a challenge with crypto is you have to do this custody stuff and security and secret keys and passphrases and all this different stuff and secure your wallet and you shouldn't be holding a lot of currency on your phone. It's just like there's a lot of issues for normies to get involved. I think that creates friction. But from a blockchain standpoint, I mean, the use case is so clear and I think important as well. So
yeah. I mean, it's a the technology is novel and valuable, and but there's still this disconnect on the value of tokens and the value of it as like a liquid asset. And so figuring out how to, if you're going to use something for a utility, you also don't want a bunch of volatility where like, you have a bunch of things that are worth nothing now. And, they were worth dollars before and now they're worth pennies. So I think we're still so early in this space, like you look at Bitcoin at $120,000, you're like, oh my God, it's the fucking top. But like we're just figuring this shit out. Like And in Trump's defense, he's created a lot of frameworks, or at least opened up the doors where frameworks can be created where crypto can exist within modern society, and all the legislation and conversation that has brought this mainstream. And it makes me very optimistic about this next bull run that will happen in 2 years or whatever, because all this building that will happen during a bear market, and
Yep.
all this kind of the actual framework. It's one thing to create frameworks in a bull market where it's just like, oh my god, everyone's like euphoric and all this shit. But during the bear market is when like real foundational stuff can get built. And so now that I think the real work begins when we can have a real framework for how things can work, of how people can integrate, of how banks can start using blockchain and crypto. I mean, we're already seeing banks being authorized, but banks are big. They're not going to go and just be like, okay, we're allowed to do it. Boom, let's just go fucking have a whole blockchain department in our bank. It's like that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I think over this next period of time, we're going to start seeing banks starting to educate themselves and get with the program, and that becomes exciting about how crypto companies integrate, how normal companies integrate with crypto, and how there can be cohesion between the financial services of the world.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree. I think there's also, a lot of focus, and it's been this way for, decade plus, a lot of focus on price, and when you're focusing on price, it's like that's, you know, kind of degrading the other stories of the value of crypto and what it can do, what its purpose is. But the other side of it is that because it's a container of value, if the price is volatile, it does give people pause on whether they want to get involved with something that's going to fluctuate so dramatically. That said, stock market's been, whipsawing like a crypto market because of, the destabilized nature of this particular administration's just inability to create any type of stability, um, at least in the short term. But still, there's just so much more money that exists and so many other hedges that exist within the traditional market. So you really can't compare the two. It's crypto's still so small, even at like 5 trillion, it's still very very small market. So that
It was a
said, we
long
just
time ago.
lost, what, like $1 trillion of the market in just the last week. So two
Yeah,
weeks. So
that ain't hoping you beat gold.
no,
And,
no, no. Gold
Peter
was the
Schiff
investment of the year for
having
sure.
the day of his life.
What's that?
Peter Schiff just having the day of his life.
Yeah, a year of his life for sure.
Year of his life. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was already balled out, and now gold just doubled in the last 2 years. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good investment.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'd say that's kind of the extent of our updates for today. We'll be back here. Will we be back here next week for that's like Thanksgiving week?
No, I think we'll be
Yeah, I
skipping.
think we're gonna skip next week, and then we'll pop back in here. I guess that will be the 3rd of December.
Yeah.
Take a week
Hopefully,
off.
we have some good news. That should be pretty close to the big
Yeah,
day. But
yeah,
I mean, I just want to gauge everybody's excitement on it. Just
yeah.
because we closed doesn't mean we're announcing the name of it. It's looking like the announcement of the name will probably happen at Sundance Film Festival. Ideally, that's kind of when we're circling that date. So
I don't
we're
think. No, I don't think we're gonna wait I don't think it needs to be. I don't know. We're gonna come up with a PR strategy. No, we're not gonna wait that long. I can tell you that right now, because we want to use the announcement to create
sure,
other types of momentum. But
sure. Well,
yeah,
anyways,
no,
it's
there's
just
no
not going to
reason
happen
for us
on the
to.
day we close. We're
Yeah, yeah. What we're gonna do. So there's two parts to the announcement. There's two parts to the announcement. So the first part of the announcement is and we've said this before, but there's the announcement of this acquisition having taken place, and that's very much rooted in the entertainment space, entertainment publicity. It's going to be like very um, something very cognizant within like the media and entertainment environment. It's not really a crypto centric announcement. It doesn't have a huge amount of specificity around crypto. The second part that we want to do is that we do want to make announcements that relate directly to this acquisition for Packet and some of the opportunities that exist there and that will be brought forth. And we've said like, this acquisition isn't going to really benefit much from being involved with crypto, but our, Packet will benefit a lot from being involved with this announcement. And so it's kind of a one-way street in that regard. The initial announcement, like we want it to be as big and anchored within the entertainment space to give it a lot of validity and to bring a lot of eyeballs and awareness to it. And then we'll be able to kind of run two parallel tracks with crypto as a specific, use case application, and having its involvement by virtue of, Josh's, my, and Jeremy and Caleb all being involved and being obviously, early community members with regards to Packet. So there's a lot of synergies there. And we have to devise a specific marketing strategy and how we're going to, roll it out. But the cool thing is that this, acquisition being what it is and the amount of capital that would be behind it really gives us a strong marketing engine. That marketing engine doesn't necessarily fully start just on the day of the acquisition, but we'll allocate we'll allocate some resources towards publicity, and then leading towards the launch next summer, we'll be able to deploy a hefty amount of marketing, millions of dollars in marketing that will, I think, have a lot of impact across all the different aspects of this deal, which is both in the entertainment space and how we want to approach the crypto space. So yeah, this is just the beginning of a new chapter in a really exciting one, and kind of creating a more global stage for the story and this project and the use cases and utility, etc. So
And
it's
we
exciting.
never had a marketing budget of a fraction of that size. Even when we hit a $350 million market cap, that was all organic. That had no marketing, real marketing. I mean, it had some marketing, but it was a fraction of a microscopic fraction of what this will do for this project. So that's where we get excited, and it's been, we're thankful that the people that have stood by us and taken the long road with us. But this is a game changer for the project, and everyone will be rewarded with this acquisition and launch.
The one thing we don't know about is what's going to be the state of the marketplace. Like, how deep and real is this bear market going to be? And we know that the bear market's going to affect the altcoins a lot more than it's going to affect Bitcoin, because I think, like Bitcoin has just got so much more institutional interest. Like, I don't think everyone's like selling off their Bitcoin, just because the market's retreating. I think a lot of people have a much longer horizon viewpoint on it. As I said, it's better to buy the dip rather than sell the dip. But we'll see.
I don't think there's going to be like a green candle to the moon the day that we launch. And I think that we've always been a slow burn on this, but as I almost said as the asset gains momentum, that will build momentum for Packet as well. So
yeah, for sure.
Anyways, we'll end it there, and thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll check back with you in a couple weeks, and have a great holiday for all the Americans that celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah, indeed. Great to see you all. Check you later.
Bye.